everyone, welcome to the success story session. So today's session is going to be very interesting as we have with us Mr. Anurag, who has cleared the SEBI Grade A examination in 2024, coming from the BTech background. So today's session is interesting because today's story is going to be the story of strong determination and never backing down in front of failures, as well as Anurag, coming from BTech background as well as being the working aspirant, still was able to clear the SEBI Grade A examination, and we will learn from his strategy that how he was able to clear the examination. So, welcome to the session, Anurag,
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for such a kind introduction.
and congratulations first of all for clearing the examination.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so can you inform us a little about your educational background?
So yeah, I've completed my initial schooling in Hyderabad and Kurnool. Then I've moved on to complete my graduation in civil engineering from NIT Warangal in BTech. So yeah, that's much. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I passed out in the year 2017.
Okay. And after that, how did you start your journey of the government body examination or the government examination?
So back then in BTech, I had a strong inclination towards the defense forces. So defense forces was always my plan A that I would go. And I had a few technicalities which I had to clear. So I had to take a 1 year break back then after my BTech. So in the meantime, I also prepared for the civil services examination, which was my plan B effectively at that point of time. But my defense journey ended quite quick as I was out due to a few technicalities which I couldn't rectify. And then UPSC and other examinations, I've started focusing on, RBI and SEBI have back then, all this churning out of about the RBI and SEBI started in 2017-18 period. So it was quite a logical journey that happened. And initially I wasn't able to clear the same. And I started from 2018 only, but I wasn't able to clear RBI as well as SEBI. But I've cleared ESIC and I started working there from 2019 March.
Okay. And like, how were you able to balance out your preparation for the RBI or SEBI and your job that you were doing at that time?
Balancing out was more a personal act, and I'm lucky to have in that sense that I had very great colleagues and great bosses to work with. So they gave me quite a leeway because I was focused on my work during my work hours, so they weren't very concerned about my personal preparation, and they facilitated the same as well. And in general, government services, what I have observed is nobody stops you from growing. So when you have a strong intention to grow, they'll definitely support the endeavors as well. So that has helped me.
So you started your regulatory body examination journey from 2018 and
Yeah,
you cleared SEBI grade in 2024. So
yeah,
you had a long preparation journey.
yeah.
So was it not tiring because you were already in a very reputed organization that is ESIC? So were you not tired and your body and mind, was it not like that, leave it and just enjoy my life and such?
Truly, yeah, because my journey in ESIC as well as Central Board of Indirect Taxes, but the GST for that matter, and then in the DRA as well. So it was largely the work was occupied during the hours as well, and the tiredness would definitely be there, but that strong motivation because one thing you looked up to something because in a defense aspirant's journey as well and the UPSC aspirant's journey as well, what we look up is to certain level of service and certain level of respect that we command. So one thing that kept me going, and my first job at ESIC actually, if I could say this, it had a dual aspect to this thing, wherein I had to focus on the revenue as well, and I was also expected to focus on the benefit delivery to many vulnerable people. So what I felt over there is maybe growing to a bigger position, we can do it much better. So that one spirit would definitely keep any person going in this journey. If you have that slight bit of motivation and awareness about what are the opportunities available to you. So that's merely about it.
Okay. And like you have given 3 attempts in SEBI and you have given 5 attempts in RBI. So
Yeah.
you have a like fair share of experience in the regulatory body domain. So any learnings that you can share with the aspirants that how they can improve their level of preparation and what you learned in these years of your preparation?
So one suggestion that I would give is definitely the focus on revision is the primary key, because there have been many attempts where I've like initially I was a perfectionist wherein I focused on perfecting each topic, that had a significant amount of failure in my journey as well. So then I've started, okay, this is when this is not working, I'll change my strategy. Let's see, like revision, that part has worked me wonderfully in the 2024 RBI as well, and this SEBI attempt as well. So revision was the key, and definitely planning, persistence are no other things, at least because for SEBI and RBI exams, I believe uh, hardcore, like giving that many hours of work as that many hours of study as UPSC may not be required. But definitely planning your completion of your syllabus and persisting with the preparation has been the main factors that I believe helped me in this attempt.
Okay. And you also you also cleared mains in RBI and went till the interview stage, and similar thing happened in SEBI also in the
Yeah.
previous attempts. So like going to that last stage, giving the interview and then expecting the result that okay, I might clear the examination and then not being able to clear. So it has a very huge toll in your mind, like mental state for a time being is not very good because you
Yeah.
expected something, right? So how do you tackle that kind of situation?
So primarily, yeah, it's a very like really disappointing thing that one will go to the interview and like everyone knows that 1:3 will be till the interview phase, but only one of the three will get selected. And it's not that the remaining people are not good. They were good enough, but it's only a factor of maybe the destiny which has made that twist. So what, as strong believer of destiny, what I believed is, okay, initially there were days because I had sufficient amount of failures that maybe bagged my experience. But what I started believing is I'll focus on each stage at a time. Okay, once if we don't clear the finals round and if we don't make the final cut, okay, I'll be maybe a bit taken aback, and I'll be sorry for the next 2 3 days. But yeah, life has to go on, and luckily for me, I had a job back then, so I had something other things to focus as well. So that helped me in my preparation, and yeah, by my belief in destiny probably helped me.
Nice. So now who was the backbone in your preparation journey? Because usually when we are going through those lows, so there is someone that helps us. So in your case,
I can say definitely the parents have been the backbone, like my mother and father, because it's been 8 years since I've been preparing for these exams, and for them it was more like something I really wanted, and if I get it, they're happy. Like they were never persistent that tum UPSC karo, tum ye karo, tum wo karo. They
mm,
were happy with the way I am, but the only thing that pinched them was okay. Maybe he should get what he really wanted. So in this journey, they've never because when you already have a job and okay, you come back from work, so you'll have a little less time. For example, if I
mm,
could say maybe 4 to 5 quality hours where you can focus on family study as well. So they let me utilize these 4 to 5 hours effectively for my study by not disturbing me or by not making me like what I'm saying. So uh, that really helped me, and definitely that kept me motivated as well. So because it was one last attempt for them, yeah.
okay. And why only regulatory body examination? Because you moved from from ESIC, you moved upwards towards the SSC CGL. Like you
Yeah.
cleared SSC CGL, you were working in the CGST department. So like you were moving ahead in a way. So then how did you kept going for the regulatory body examination when the journey was becoming such long and tedious?
Regulatory body exams, because my primary aspect or the primary factor that maybe kept me moving was the growth opportunities that I'd be getting once I start writing a few exams like UPSC or the RBA or the SEBI examination. The growth was the factor that kept me growing. And yeah, RBA and SEBI have always been on the radar along with the UPSC. But if I could say this, the UPSC journey is quite more tedious, and RBA SEBI appeared more feasible for me, more viable for me, balancing out with my work profile, work as well, like not affecting the work that I was doing. So this was the logical this thing which I've taken.
Hmm.
Okay, when this is at least getting more viable, I'll try this first, and then let's see if I could do that as well.
Okay. And like in SEBI specifically, you have to compete with the CA students in their core domain subjects, and you have to compete with the commerce students in their core domain subjects. So were you not afraid?
Uh, Maybe initially I was, but that was quite the part of thrill that this journey envisages. You're competing with a person in their domain itself. So that's one challenge and that's one thrill that you face in these examinations. And one thing that kept me going was, yeah, probably I'm not the first person who is doing it, and I'll be not be the last person who is doing it. So
Okay. So now I think we have touched upon the different aspects so that the students can learn from your journey that, okay, your learnings might help them. Now I think we can move ahead with the strategy part, and let's start with the phase one strategy. So in phase one, there is paper one and paper two. So let's
yeah,
start with paper one, GA, English, Quant, and Reasoning.
yeah. So, for SEBI in particular, I was not very concerned about the GA part because this was a qualifying paper. Both the papers in the phase one, like we need to get 30% in paper one, 40% in paper two, and 40% overall, if I'm not wrong. So I wasn't very concerned because I knew that okay, my quant and reasoning can balance out for any shortfall in GA. So I was happy with that aspect, and the GA also did quite well for me in the prelims. I only focused on like brief notes and everything. Uh, Rather than that, there was no specific preparation that I've taken for paper one. Quant and reasoning, given my engineering background and given my length of experience with examinations, I knew how like quite how well to do in GA and reasoning. Sorry, reasoning and quant. English was always my strength, so I went ahead with no proper strategy that to crack paper one. Paper two was more like a revision for me for the second phase as well because my thing was that I used to have a limited time frame wherein I could prepare. So I kept it simple that this would be my first reading of I primarily relied because 2022 I got the summary sheets and also I only relied on them. I didn't do much. So summary sheets I've started reading for the phase one. I was able to complete the summary sheets. So after that, it was all revision for me. So that did
Okay.
quite well. That did help me.
Okay, let's now talk about the subject wise because
Yeah,
for the paper two, you already prepared very well, no? So
yeah, yeah,
let's start from your finance and management,
yeah.
economics, costing. So how did you prepare for each of these subject? What was the main source that you were following?
Main source was the summary sheets, as I've been telling, because there is no much brain that I've kept into it. But in the initial days, like in my RBI days back then, RBI preparation days back then, I also saw the management book of K.S. Prasad sir, and those books have stock books I've seen, organization behavior by books, peers and publishers. So those books I've briefly referred to them in the back then in the journey. So I had that what we say brief idea of the conceptual understanding back then. And
Mm.
FN was always my strength in RBI. So it was only a carrying forward of that strength with the accounting, like the costing and accounting knowledge. Luckily, to me, in my domain, like in the taxation and in the ESIC as well, I had to be familiar with those subjects. So that helped me, maybe all that also helped me. And companies law, what this thing is. For the last I've been having a career of back then like 5.5 years. I've continued service till now. So about 4.5 years I've been working in the legal sections only, in ESIC, in the GST as well. So I had a fair understanding of how to read a law and how to understand the law. So that helped me, and that helped me to maybe link particular aspects of law with the stipulations that the law prescribes. See, for example, what is the question? There was a question like, what is the minimum and maximum age of a director permissible in a company as per the company's law? This was a question in phase two, I guess. So I was able to link, okay, what could be the minimum age? You take it the constitution, 21 was the there'll be slight confusion. 18 is the voting age, 21 is the candidate's age. So and that regular examples that we talk about, for example, Sir Sri Ratan Tata ji, the late Sri Ratan Tata ji. So till what period was he and director? So this general understanding helped me with understanding of the law. So yeah, probably that helped me in law aspect.
Okay.
Economics, definitely there is no, because initially I struggled, to be frank, but I got used to it only by revision. That's it.
True. Economics is not a very easy subject
Yeah,
because it involves graphs. And if you don't get the
yeah,
understanding of the graphs, everything will become jumbled up after a point of time.
yeah.
So,
True.
like,
Us.
it has to be revised again and
Yeah,
again. So, okay. So you have told very nicely that, okay, these subjects, different subjects, you had your strength and weaknesses, and you understood those strengths, and you studied all the subjects as per your understanding.
yeah.
And you followed the summary sheet of EduTap. Any other material did you follow?
No, not in particular for SEBI. Initially, like for other exams I had, but this exam I was very focused because uh, I was focused on limiting my material that I should revise, because as I've said, I had uh, like misdirected my efforts into reading multiple materials in the initial day. So this time I was very focused about what to read and where to read it, where to read it from.
Okay. So now we can move forward with the phase two, we can say. And in the
Yeah.
phase two, there is paper one. So what was your strategy for the paper one?
Paper one strategy, English and if I
Descriptive
yeah,
writing.
English and descriptive. So it was largely that the normal English skills helped me to draft my paras, and the work that I do helped me in this aspect as well, because
Mm.
we are expected to draft many paras covering explanations and also that helped me. But for a general understanding, I regularly follow the Hindu newspaper. So the editorial parts over there uh, probably would expand my horizon, uh,
Mm.
so as to deliver properly written essays in my paper one as well. But I believe this time I wasn't able to perform to my potential. Remaining exams, I'd performed better, I believe so. And ultimately, it's the day of the exam also that matters, I think.
True. And how important do you think the typing practice is for a aspirant?
Yeah, yeah. Typing practice, I believe, in this pattern of examination, because in UPSC, many UPSC aspirants also write for SEBI RBI.
Mm.
But what happens is over there, it's more of a written kind of examination, and you are focused on writing all your thoughts and all. But over here, when it comes to typing, the typing speed, because this time the word limit has also been increased in SEBI
Mm.
exam, and it was a shocker for all of us once we entered the examination hall. So, uh, typing practice and the typing which I've been doing helped me for completion of the paper in the first place. Because I believe completion of the paper is one thing that probably would not stand as a barrier in between getting shortlisted for the interview and uh, not getting shortlisted. Like that barrier, probably completion of the paper on time would be the key in that aspect.
Okay. So now coming to phase two, paper two. So what different preparation did you do after phase one for the phase two, paper two?
So for the phase one paper one, I was quite confident because okay, if I leave some questions also, I would be able to make the cut, so I'd be through.
Hmm.
For phase two paper two, the main focus area of that I've envisaged was only about the depth that I've learned these concepts in. Yes, in phase two, at times I've cross-checked the EduTap material with the ICSI material, ICA material as well,
Hmm.
and I've made some small pointers by the side of it. But because the last time 2022 paper was quite more deep on the deeper side, so I
Yes.
was apprehensive about that possibility as well.
Hmm.
So I've started corroborating that thing, and in the limited time that I've had, so it was more about revision and if I could say improving the depth. That's it. Nothing much effort that I've put into it.
Okay. So your main focus was in the revision. And how
Yeah.
important do you think the MCQs practice is in your revision part or in the phase two part?
So yeah, MCQ practice, as I would say, the revision part primarily envisages the areas which you are weak at and areas which should improve on. So I believe MCQs help me do that because uh, when we read the company's law, when we give a glance at a company's law, we feel that yeah, I'm understanding these concepts well. Okay, this I can remember, this I can remember. But only when it comes to the MCQ part, we realize that quite many provisions of the law are quite similar. Like it's very similar to some other provision, and we get confused. For example, the time period and all, it's almost impossible to remember. So that's where we actually identify our weak areas. And the second thing, what I believe is for any success, we would be needing one springboard to start on. So when we complete the MCQs, you will probably have somewhere 20-25 questions where you've already touched the same concept in the MCQ. So that will be a springboard from where you can start your scoring journey from.
Okay. And this time the pattern also changed, like the number of questions were increased. So were you not apprehensive about that because it could be like difficult questions and such, or were you relaxed that okay, more number of questions means easier questions? So were
Uh,
you? Hmm.
Please come.
Yeah, this was the final
Uh,
question.
so it was a mix of both because on the first place when the time was not increased and the questions were increased, I quite felt that yeah, when the time is not getting increased, the question paper is bound to be easier or it will be tough for everyone. So okay, it's a level playing field, so we need not really worry about the number of questions.
Hmm.
Uh, and my second positive that I've taken this thing is okay, this paper gives me that 1% chance of taking more risk because here the probability of getting a negative and like the score falling is also reduced because the negative mark is also one-fourth only, one-fourth of what is being awarded. So it's only minus 0.25. So I'll take that risk for every question. And yeah, probably only because of that reason, I've taken a risk in all the questions and I have attempted 99 questions of the 100. So maybe it worked for me.
Okay. And like more number of questions. And when you were giving the mock test, were you able to see all the 100 questions in
Yeah,
the
I
mock
was I
test?
was able to see all the 100 questions in the mock test
Okay. And in the final exam also
in the
you
final
watched.
examination. Yeah,
Okay. So I think we have talked about the phase one and phase two both. Now we can move forward with the phase three, that is your interview part.
yeah,
Now before going to the main interview, like did you give any mock interview?
yeah. I've given a mock interview with Malik sir's panel at EduTap itself. Uh, so yeah, that's the only mock interview that I've given for this particular examination.
And how important or how helpful do you think the mock interviews are before your final interview?
I think they're quite important because in the initial stages of the journey, or in the first two interviews, you largely figure out what are the HR questions that can come from your profile. So in the HR part of it, I was very confident. But
Hmm.
coming to the technical aspects, the news aspects, due to my work burden as well, I was not able to really follow the news to the very like very diligent extent.
Mm.
So that was one area of concern for me. And also, regarding SEBI, if I should study, what is that part of SEBI and what is the news that I should study in respect of SEBI? So that was also an area of concern which I was initially apprehensive about because uh, it was 1:3, and I was quite sure that given the easiness of the paper, the cutoffs are bound to be high, and we might also be on the border. So that apprehension made me more a bit scared, if you could say, about the interview. So what I did was in that panel interview, what I realized was uh, Malik sir, especially, he also pointed out the same to me. The foundation part of understanding about the markets was clear, but
Mm.
that terminology was missing. So I had to work on that. I had to work on that aspect, and he helped me focus on, like, for example, SEBI annual report was released back then. So he helped me focus on which chapters, if you read, you'll get a broader understanding about the markets, the working of the SEBI, and it was only about correlation between the work I was doing, work that SEBI would be expecting me to do, and bringing it together. I believe that helped me greatly in interview.
Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the final interview. So, how was the panel and what was the feeling when you were going inside?
Uh, Initially, yeah, after seeing a few transcripts, I was also a bit apprehensive. Okay, this is going too long, so I should be prepared for such experience. But the panel was really cordial. I think my interview was on the second day of the entire interview duration, like the number of days interview. I was on second day, if I'm not wrong, second day afternoon session. So it was a very short interview, I think about 7 to 8 minutes. And I was asked about my profile that I've already worked in, the investigation, the prosecution profile, the legal related questions, again from the profile which I've come from. So the with regards to investigation, it was about like what were the patterns, what were the patterns that I've identified, and how was it relevant for SEBI. And it was also about what are you expecting to contribute to SEBI? Yeah, like that. Such sort of questions were largely there, and it was a few technical questions from uh, the topics of disgorgements of securities and front running. These concepts were also asked to me largely.
Okay. And were you able to answer all the questions?
Yeah, yeah. Like the interview was quite cordial and quite good.
Okay. And were there any questions that you said no for that you are not aware about this, or everything was fine for you?
No, in this particular interview, I was of the questions asked. I knew most of the this thing, so there wasn't a chance to say. In my
Mm.
previous interviews, I had a few questions where.
Okay. Now I think we are towards the end of the session, and before like ending the session, first of all, how helpful was EduTap for you? Like, were we helpful for you?
Yeah, quite much because as I said, aspirants, the two, what we say, dissonance factors, if you could say that aspirants faces. One is the lack of study material and the lack of excess study material as well. So focusing on a single channel like EduTap helped me greatly, to narrow down my preparation journey, because time was a very important factor for me in this entire journey. Allocation of time was a quite challenging task, but this channel helped me, narrow it down quite seamlessly. And at every stage, whether it be the prelims interview, prelims, mains, and the interview, if I could say so, phase one, phase two, and interview. So at each stage, the material with a bit of external understanding helped me, to uh, 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 gauge down to the required depth that I was expected to perform in the examination. So yeah, by that data, I can say I'm greatly indebted to you as well.
And usually, like when we are talking about experience, they are usually confused and they are usually like they want to buy different sources or they want to buy the different courses because they are not very trustful for a particular course, and that can happen with anyone, right? So it didn't happen with you that you have bought EduTap's course as well as you started searching for something else also so that you can compare and such, or were you were you fine with EduTap only?
No, initial days I was definitely a bit here and there, and if I'm not sure if I've subscribed to some other this thing also, but what I believed in this examination was that okay, because I have tried all those things and I've experienced a number of failures as well. So I it was just like that. Okay, let me try this once. So
Hmm.
it worked for me.
Okay, so we can say that one source and multiple revisions
Yeah,
is the key, because
yeah.
if you are following a source and then you are jumping to some other source and you are studying something else and you are not revising, so then you will not be able to clear with any course. But
Yeah, that
if you,
that that consistency would probably missing because probably be missing because when you jump from one source to another source, there is a flow that probably goes into what you are studying and how you are studying it. So once you jump between the sources, what happens is you happen to break that flow in between. So you'll not have that and some questions here and there. It'll be wrong here, wrong there. So we'll start judging ourselves, or we'll start questioning ourselves. Okay, am I making the right choice? So a lot of time and effort goes waste in those this thing. So
Mhm.
probably this time that helped me do.
Okay. Okay, so now before ending the session, any message for the future aspirants and the future SEBI officers?
So nothing more message, nothing much to message, but I would say that okay, focus on this thing, and every individual has his separate journey, has his unique journey. So it's only about maneuvering between the situations and making it happen. That's it.
Okay. And now one last question that I forgot. Like anything that you did different this time, that you cleared the examination as compared to the previous times?
Uh, as I said, it was largely bestowed to the revision part that I've did. This was one aspect which I was thinking about in every exam, but I somewhere or the other flunked somewhere in between. So
Mm.
uh, because initially I was a perfectionist, I was like, okay, this chapter I have to understand 100% very clearly. Only then I'll move to the next chapter. So I started realizing that okay, that isn't how competitive exams work. So I've shifted my strategy to more revision oriented one, so it worked for me this time.
Okay. So thank you so much, Anurag, for joining the session. It was wonderful talking with you, and I hope the aspirants learned a lot from you and will not follow blindly the strategy, but they will use your strategy to mold their own strategy and become the next SEBI officers. So thank you so much, Anurag, for coming. Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you very much, Kritika. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.